All right. I think we're live here.
Yes,
Me, Chiz, and Rich. Welcome, Rich. How's it going, man?
it's going great. Thanks for having me, and I'm excited to finally come and talk about this thing we've
Yeah,
been doing.
yeah. So, okay, this is TitanX. Our community is migrating value assets over to Pulsechain. So, and Rich, we've got a small workhorse crew of people that are community members and have been doing this collaboratively. And so I just want to ask you why are you doing this and why are we doing this first?
Well, I think the first I heard of it, I didn't quite understand, the Eros plan or what was being promoted, but I had always had a passion for Pulse Chain. It was just a matter of time when I found a reason or method to start bringing some of my assets over there to be able to be exposed to a new market. So when I was approached with this idea, I thought, wow, there's my in right there. That I can, the bridge is there for a reason. The bridge, any token on Ethereum could be bridged to Pulse Chain in just a matter of moments. And so the technology is there. It's been there a year. It's tested. I've used it many times over the years, the past couple of years. And so what I thought is, heck, if I can bring any Ethereum token to Pulse Chain, like Hex and all them before, well, now I can bring all the TitanX tokens over there, and I bought them all. So, so I said, well, I'm going to bring every single one of the BOTs over, and I'm just going to mirror what you see on Ethereum over on Pulse Chain. So people who have Volt and TitanX on Ethereum, well, they will see Volt and TitanX paired together on Pulse Chain now. And then what they could do later is start tying in LPs with Volt and the core tokens on Pulse Chain like Pulse, PulseX, Inc., and Hex. And then a person could look and say, okay, now I feel comfortable with that. Now I want to expand into speculate. So now they got all types of speculative tokens you can pair with, and you can pair with tokens like Eros or tokens like PDI or tokens like Bear or tokens like Gas Money or, there's probably thousands of them. I can't even mention them all. But once a person gets value over there, they have the freedom to pair their tokens with whatever they want. And my thought behind this, and people ask me, what are you doing that for? Why is that going to work? Well, to me, it's very simple. We're going to have a bull run. I think nobody can deny that. It's coming. And so if you pair your tokens with strength of other tokens that are going to run, you're going to go with them. It's just that simple. And so if you're not worried about just trying to come over there and dump tokens and wait for the first person to buy your token and dump on them, that's not the game. The game is, for me at least, is I'm setting LPs with and creating this web structure so that when these assets start moving upward, then the rising tide lifts all boats. That concept that we talk about on TitanX. So the same thing's going to take place on Pulse Chain. And so the other thing I see is that we're purchasing tokens on TitanX Ethereum side with fresh capital in some cases. And so this is buying pressure. And then we're taking those tokens and we're removing that supply off of Ethereum over to Pulse Chain. So that's reducing the supply on Ethereum. That's helping everyone. That's helping the builders of the project. That's helping the investors that are currently in those projects on Ethereum. There's no downside to that. And the biggest advantage I see is this is just still my tokens. I bridge them over. They're sitting over there on Pulse Chain. Now I got exposure to a totally new market, a whole different set of people that maybe want to buy TitanX, but they don't feel like coming over to Ethereum. Well, they got them right there at their grasp now on Pulse Chain. And yes, these liquidity pools are thin right now because it takes time. We set 40 LPs, and that takes a lot of time, effort, and money. and nobody's funding this. I'm not selling anything. Nobody gave me anything to do this. This is my own initiative I just saw an opportunity. I said, shit, I love this. I'm going to go after it. And once I got started, I couldn't stop. And I said, I'm not going to stop till I get them, every single one bridged over. And when I did that, I made sure that they were pegged to the price that you see on Ethereum. So whatever the price were at that time, the ratio was exactly the same on Pulsechain. Now, the risk that we do have with this is that these pools need to be built up so that they can be added to where the ratio is still correct. So what happens if a trade is not taking place on a pair for a long time, it will be out of balance. And so it's necessary that we build these up first and get them where others can add to it without the ratio being out of whack. And so that's our next focus here. But I'll stop and let you go ahead.
No, I mean, so okay. So so why did you decide all of the build on TitanX coins? Like, what was it in your mind that said, I want to do all of them? Because in my mind, I was just thinking, okay, the ones that that might have a community interest in moving over. But what was it about all of them that was persuasive to you?
It's a cumbersome process to set up to go through the bridge and to get the bridge to recognize the ERC20 token for the first time. All of that takes additional steps. And I wanted to remove that from the new user experience by taking 5 or 6 steps completely out of the process for them. And so by me setting up the pools and making that initialized on the bridge, now the next person that comes in, they're not going to have to do that again. So it's already recognized. So once we get activity and traffic through these pairs, a person can come into the bridge and type a token and it should come up.
And would you be willing to talk a little bit about how you're thinking we make this visible and easy for people to do? Like, what are the steps if someone wanted to migrate value? If I'm holding TitanX or DragonX or some build on TitanX protocol on Ethereum and I want exposure to Pulsechain, like right now we have to be a go-getter in order to make that happen. You're doing it, I'm doing it. A handful of people are actually building out the liquidity web. What are the things that you think would make it easy and accessible to more people? And what are we doing that maybe are working towards that?
I think we could use a video tutorial. I mean, that probably is the most effective in the space of time to get somebody from point A to point B. Yep. I mean, you could read stuff and you could be told things, but when you see it, it brings it to life. So a video of that process is necessary, and that will be coming from someone, either if I have to, but I'm really not a content creator, so I'm struggling. Okay. But we'll figure it out. Let's just say that. So that is one thing that needs to be done, is to go through the bridge process. And once your tokens are on Pulsechain, it's pretty simple then. So that becomes another step where you open up. In my case, I like to use the Pulsechain DEX. And so when you go there, you can type in your token, and if it doesn't come up, then you have to. Okay, let me back up a step. We saved all the Pulsechain addresses on a list, and actually through my process of migrating all of these 40 BOTs, I created a LP for each one. So I also added each one of those pairs to a DEX screener page, which has a LP pair, a token, whatever. So now we have the token addresses for everything on Pulsechain. So we'll have this list handy where people can say, okay, I want to bring Volt over. Okay, well, there's their Volt Pulsechain contract address. And so they can click that. And when they go to the Pulsechain DEX, you can put that where you have a drop down for the token. You can put that Pulsechain address in there, and the new Volt on the Pulsechain will show up. And so all of a sudden you see your tokens there. And so now you can say, okay, well, let me go look at the LP deck screener page and see what has the thickest liquidity maybe, and start looking at where you want to make some buys with that new Volt over there. Maybe you want to buy Dragon X with Volt. Maybe you want to buy TitanX. We're going to have all these exotic pairs. Maybe you want to buy Eros. Maybe you want to jump right in. Maybe you want PDI. Maybe you heard so much about PDI, you just want to get some of that. And maybe you have a lot of Volt. So now you can do that. So there'll be all kinds of ways to use your assets that you're bringing over.
And as you're talking, it's pretty clear to me. It's really what Peter's been saying, and I'm starting to see it, that a website that makes it easy to, that brings all of this all together, that makes it easy to bridge, easy to see all the pairs that there are, and then easy to put liquidity into the web if that's what we want to do.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That would be awesome. And we are working on some things where, when I first started, there was a link to, I think it's called a Pulse dashboard link or something. And you could see your pairs, but the problem was it was only showing half the value. And so it's really hard to manage your LPs when you can't see but half the value. And then a portion of those tokens had zero values for the tokens on both sides. So you had zero value in those LPs, but you could have 10,000 in it and not even know it. So that we're working on something right now to get that taken care of.
I mean, I'll tell you what I've been doing. So I followed your lead and Peter's lead, and I started to migrate over TitanX, a bunch of billion TitanX and a bunch of Dragon X, and then the other build on TitanX tokens that I had or that I wanted to buy when they were at lows. And so I migrated over TitanX, Dragon X, Lotus, Eden, and a few other build on TitanX tokens. And then I started to put them all into the web, the architecture that you and Peter have set up. Now, you've set up a lot of the TitanX pairs, and then Peter on the other side of it has been setting up a lot of the web. He set it up way back, I don't know, over a year ago or 10 or 11 months ago on the Pulsechain side. So there's a lot of Pulsechain pairs in the Eros web also. And so what I've been doing is bringing my my TitanX assets together with my Pulsechain assets and putting them into the Eros web. That's what I've been doing. At the same time, just because I do like the speculative potential of Eros, I like the fact that it's a PTGC clone and there's a fee sharing token, and that I like that there's no people involved. I like that there's no admin keys. I like that it's been operating for a year. I like that it's really hyper deflationary. And I also like that what it feels like is there's a bunch of diamond hands holders that aren't really interested in just pumping and dumping things, but are interested in building out a liquidity web that really leverages TitanX and Pulsechain. So that's sort of what I've been doing. And increasingly, people are starting to ask, like, this is what people are asking me. They're like, people on Pulsechain side are saying, all right, well, what should we buy of TitanX, right? And I was like, well, the question is, what do you like? Because everything's at a low, and what do you like? And so I've been guiding people towards things like Dragon X, and so I've seen some PTGC people who are also Dragon X people that are interested in what we're building, partially because they like TitanX assets, the deflationary, part of it, and they like the, I guess, the pure DeFi part of TitanX, but they really they're more comfortable on Pulsechain. So anyway, all right, Rich, is there anything else we need to talk about this evening? or is this good? This
Yeah.
is I think sort of short and sweet is better. Is there anything else that earlier you said that you like to think about this as like a construction project, right?
Yeah.
Because that could
Yeah.
could you talk a little bit about that? Like, how do you think about this? Like, where are we?
Yeah, I spent all my life in construction outside of the crypto, so that's pretty much how I think about things. And everything has a start and a finish, and you work it in a sequence, and you work it, you whatever, you work it yourself to get out of a job. You want to finish the project. So anyway,
Exactly.
the way I see that is, each person may look at this differently. Like for instance, the way I looked at this, as soon as I heard about this plan, I wasn't interested in the Eros plan at first. I was like, okay, I've been wanting to get to Pulsechain bad, and now is my chance to do that. So my thought was, what I'm going to do first is I need to bring over the tokens and have them in pairs that people recognize and people like the way they are on Ethereum. I think it was important to do that. It was like, to me, the key element is to pair what you see on Ethereum on Pulsechain exactly the same way. And then after that, you can expound in many different directions. You can create a weave of LP webs as much as in deep as you want to, in any pair that you want to, is because we have the base core assets paired the way they are in Ethereum. So we have the values tied to the way they're supposed to be over there. And so what happens now, if you have them weaved into all type of power players on Pulsechain and they start running and flying and this FOMO and bull market comes, the rising tide lifts all boats. Suppose Pulsechain takes off before Ethereum. Let's just say whatever that happens, and all of a sudden it has a month of running. Well, we don't want to see people migrating by selling down TitanX on Ethereum to come over to Pulsechain, and then Pulsechain starts correcting and people start selling and then going back to Ethereum, and we got this back and forth thing. So where if we start building out this effort now and we start migrating a portion of TitanX assets on Pulsechain, then we got the scenario where if we build these pools deep enough and people want to join and do the same thing, well, then now that we don't have to have this migration back and forth, we got these tokens, there will always be arbing back and forth, but that was one benefit that I see. So as a construction project, I see the first layer was the TitanX pairing like you see on ETH. The second layer would be pairing with the core assets on Pulsechain, whether it be Pulse, PulseX, Inc., or Hex, whatever you like. And then after that, the next layer would be your speculative layer, and that would be your PDI, your Eros, your Teddy Bear, or your whatever else coin you like over there, or pick the highest one you want that's running.
Yeah. And Rich, how do you see the bull run coming? Like, do you have an idea, and what's your thinking about how you're going to play this whole liquidity web as the bull run starts? Let's assume that in the next, I don't know, period of time, we've got a pulse chain bull run happening.
I can't lay any claims to be in some sort of macroeconomic guidance person. Basically, the way I like to invest, I'm not a trader. I like to buy and hold, and I'll hold until it's time to sell. And I'll keep adding if it dips until I get pissed off and tired of adding. But mostly I'm not a trader. So I look at it from the terms of I buy depressed assets, and the ones that people hate the most, that's the ones I'm going buy. Fuck it, you and everyone else. I'm going buy it, and I don't care what anybody thinks, and I'm not going to hear any noise because that's where the opportunity is. And so, yeah, that's my mindset.
No, it's good. And it's actually why some of these depressed assets have been pumping, because we've been buying lows, and it's good to buy blood and then pair things with assets that have a lot of potential. So that's the strategy, basically. All right, man. Anything else you want to share? This is good. Maybe we can do this like once a week, and we'll check in on how the construction project is going. And and we'll start to look at some metrics, because I think that I think we need to. Hey, Noah, hold on one second. I'm almost done. Okay. All right. That's my son. All
I
right,
just
man.
want to leave people with this. I think it's
Yeah.
important that each person has their own individual decision to make on what they want to do if they're going to join this effort we're doing. As for me, I'm bridging my own tokens from Ethereum to Pulsechain. It's not all of them. I'm very bullish on TitanX on Ethereum, but this is me getting exposure to a completely separate market with the same tokens I already own. So to me, it's a no-brainer. But that's what the message I want to leave with people is. It's up to you. You don't have to invest in these speculative plays on Pulsechain, but you can if you're there. If you can't, if you're not there. So, and yeah, there's speculative plays on Ethereum as well. And you don't have to leave Ethereum. I'm not trying to divide the community. This is just, hey, you can get double exposure here.
Yeah, and I also think it's good to get supply off of Ethereum
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
it decreases sellers, especially where the sentiment is right now is when there's a little pump, people are tending to sell into the green days, and so it it takes selling off of Ethereum, and it also make things lighter when the bull run does come, when TitanX does run. Things are going to fly because there's going to be a lot less resistance.
Yeah.
All right, all right, man. Let's not beat it to whatever, but thank you, and let's keep the dialogue going. I appreciate your time, man,
Yeah.
and I really just as someone who's learning how to do this, I really like learning from Peter, like the vision and the strategy and all of his experiential wisdom in the space has been incredibly helpful. And from you, it's really helpful for me to watch how you've done this, how you've architectured it. And I'm honestly, it's really impressive because it takes time and money to do it. And I think you're doing it because you like doing it, but also because you see the potential for it. And
Absolutely.
so, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and
yeah.
it took a full month to build that out. That's no joke. I mean,
I know.
it was
I know.
quite the personal commitment.
No, man. All right. Great. Have a great evening. It's good to talk to you.
Okay, you too. See you.
All right, man. Bye. Oh, let's see who's here. Wow, there's actually a few people. I don't want to get hacked or for connecting. Yeah. Okay, let me just answer a few of these questions. Sorry, Rich, I just let you go. It's verified, so go look at it. Yeah, it's a verified revoke contract. Um, it is a PTGC clone, and true, there's no DAO and there's no treasury. It says, so if I buy or sell or connect, they can't get access to my wallet. Um, all I can say is my experience is I have bought and sold on the Pulse decks. So buying and selling isn't an issue. If you're asking about connecting your wallet to the Eros Revival site, I have done that. I have not had my wallet drained. And in fact, I've been staking and locking some of my Eros in the contract since the original airdrop. Let's see what else. Parallel TitanX ecosystem on ETH, and now we have it all on Pulsechain. Yes, that's exactly right. It's the TitanX ecosystem, both on Ethereum and almost a mirror of it in smaller quantities currently on Pulsechain. I don't want to get hacked. Yeah, I don't think anyone. I connect every day. There's over 100 people staking there. That's exactly right. If you go to the website, you can see that there are almost about 100 people staking, and so it's been operating. Any other questions? All right, y'all. Peace out. Let's keep the dialogue going. I think we have some green actually. Let me look. What are we doing here? How's the euros doing? Yeah, I was buying earlier. Yeah. All right.